Hello everybody, welcome to Dakman Productions and welcome to the B&O Railroad Museum here in Baltimore, Maryland. We are here for Diesel Days, the B&O Museum Diesel Days, so I couldn't miss out on that. I'm a diesel guy, right? So I gotta I gotta attend the Diesel Days. So there are diesel and steam locomotives here at this museum. For those who don't know, it's a great museum to visit. Come on out. But we're going to focus this video on diesels. Now, someday, diesels will get the recognition that they deserve, just much like the steam locomotives. There's plenty of famous diesel locomotives that have made history, just as well as steam. So that's why, we're going to focus on diesel. Once again, I'm a diesel guy, so let's go. Let's check out the Diesel Day at the B&O Railroad Museum. Okay, here is a B&O GP40 number 3684. Seen this before. I've visited here like 3 or 4 or 5 times over the last, 20 years, something like that, 15 years. So, but a little refresher for those who are new to my channel. Over here we have Baltimore, Ohio, number 633 switcher. When I first visited here, I always wanted to make this train up in the yard in O gauge, and you could probably do it. There's stuff that is available. You got a GP40. That's easy enough to find an O gauge and make that, customize it. You do have O gauge wagon top box cars out there. You could easily make this. They might have even made the B&O in a wagon top. I don't remember. Sort of an odd looking box car here. Yep, the Goodyear framed tank car is still here. UTLX, Union Tank Car Lines. Pierre Marquette, PS2 covered hopper. So yeah, you could easily make this train up in the yard if you wanted to customize this PS2. I actually have that piggyback. MTH made this, so I actually have this. This is an MTH piece. Finally, we get to the B&O caboose. I think it'd be a cool train to make up to run around your layout, an O gauge. Here's the cool one. B&O EMD SD35. An O gauge on the Atlas O, and MTH has made the SD35. Straight ahead, that's the Roundhouse. When you go in there, that's pretty impressive. So that's where we're going to head at now. Next, we'll get some footage walking through the Roundhouse to the outside, and so we'll head towards the museum entrance. That's pretty cool. If you guys are ever out here in the Baltimore area, visiting the aquarium or something, make sure you stop out here. It's family fun. Miniature version of what looks like to be either E6, E7, or E8 in the display. This is pretty cool. So we got a display of diesel electric locomotives. Number 900, New Haven, Alco switcher. Number 1000, Central Railroad, New Jersey, American locomotive, Alco. There you go. Electric motive, FT model units. FT actually became before the F3. There you go. GP. Looks like a GP30. Davenport switcher. And we have another Alco RS unit. Alright, so this is my most favorite part of the museum, the Roundhouse. All the American flags hanging up. All the classic steam locomotives around. They do demonstrate the turntable. Sorry if I'm going too fast, but this is kind of a high-paced tour, it looks like, for diesel days. Normally I would be a little bit more slower, but there's a tight schedule for this diesel days. Let me see if I can get the flags and all. There you guys go. That way you can get the flags included with the locomotives. There you guys go. Alright, so we gotta keep going. Alright, so we gotta head out to platform number 2 and grab our train, because this Diesel Days includes a ride on a 1 mile express, they call it.
All aboard 1, 3. 1, 2, 3. Besides our front crowd, I don't need Marcus' opinion, that was terrible. Let's try a little bit better. I am a little hot. These train cars do have air conditioning, so if anybody else is hot and wants to get on the train like I do, let's do better on the all aboard, guys. All aboard 1, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, we're getting ready to board the train. That Marc locomotive is the first time I ever seen them put that on a train before. Let's see if I can head out to the tail end car. Probably not. Okay, we're actually aboard and ready to roll. So we're gonna go on this. This is called the 1 mile express that we're on. So it's going to take us to our destination. And according to, this is my first time for Diesel Days, but according to the guide, the tour guide, he said at the end of the 1 mile express, we'll get off, and then that's when they'll do the parade of diesel engines. So that'll be cool to see. And here we are, off on our way for 1 whole mile. That looks like an icebreaker car. They would put those things on top to break the ice in the tunnels. Gary Plastics.
Yeah.
You know what? I might get that for my O-gauge layout. If I find a B&O PS2, that'd be cool to have. Western Maryland. GG1.
There it is.
I believe this is the restoration shop.
Would you do the shop floor?
I see a Conrail cool cover, yeah. Conrail cool cover.
That's a seat.
So cool. I can't wait.
I was in Mexico, so that's why I told him.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be great. So again, this is my first Diesel Days, but I'm really I'm getting pumped for this.
My name is Trevor Long. I'm one of the volunteers here. I will be your narrator, so I will be the voice of Diesel Days, whether you like my voice or not. Depending on who you are. So I'm one of the conductors here. I also volunteer in the shop, so some of this stuff is pretty familiar to me. So, we'll start off with, we'll go back over what we already were told, which is please stay behind the stanchions, the yellow rope, stay off the tracks. Also, please watch out for sharp objects on the ground. Please don't sit. Squatting, whatever, you do you. But again, welcome to Diesel Days 2024. We have some new stuff in the program for you. So sit back, relax, and let's kick it off.
Light rail maintenance of weight truck. Built in 1996 by General Motors as a 3/4 ton, meaning the payload capacity, this two-wheel drive truck came equipped from GM with a Detroit diesel 6.5 liter turbocharged 4-stroke diesel engine and utilizes a new venture NV4500 series 5-speed manual transmission. The 6.5 liter turbo diesel under the hood produces 190 horsepower and 385 foot-pounds of torque and is the truck version of the Optimizer 6.5 turbo diesel that is in use in the U.S. military's Humvees. Purchased from the Everett Railroad in Pennsylvania in 2005, this truck has served the museum's rail ops department faithfully until February of 2023 when the engine under the hood, tired and showing signs of oil burning and consumption, was pulled and rebuilt by Willis crew. After an extensive teardown, where the engine was torn down to the bare block and rebuilt along with the turbocharger, as well as replacement of several crucial sensors in addition to the replacement of the alternator, power steering pump, water pump, and the installation of a new clutch in the drivetrain, the truck returned to duty in August of that same year. This truck provides the rail ops department a mobile vehicle that can haul heavy track equipment as well as cumbersome tools up to any part of the museum's property. So suffice it to say, there's a bit of this truck that is in it. used for heavy-duty lifting as well as carrying tasks. Equipped with a Cummins four-cylinder, 160 horsepower, four-stroke diesel engine that couples to a 6-speed transmission, this beast has a max lift capacity of 10,000 pounds or 5 tons.
Man, I should have brought a protest sign that says W on it, Extreme W. Man, what a bummer. Oh well.
The hydraulic boom on the front has multiple articulation points, allowing you to pick up anything from ties and rails to massive connex boxes. Equipped with a hydraulically powered, laterally moving coupler, as well as an air-operated knuckle release, allow this operator to manipulate the coupler from the cab and essentially function as a locomotive. This is a fairly recent acquisition to the Rail Ops department. This versatile machine has proved its worth already by replacing the previously used high crane that lived on a flat yard, as it shows from the good scene now on the east end. Bridge, our next and last piece of MOW diesel powered equipment, heading the theme to this thing is slow and steady, it's no race.
What is the way?
What you see heading your way is a 1955 Railway Maintenance Corporation / McWilliams 8-tool tie team. The now defunct Railway Maintenance Corporation of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania was a competitor in the 1930s through 1960 in terms of maintenance of ray equipment, producing such equipment as the tie camper you see in front of you today, amongst a myriad of other track maintenance pieces of equipment. The purpose of the tie camper is to go underneath through the ballast and to regulate the doors connected into place, therefore shoring up the underside of the said ties to make sure that they will pitch laterally and right. This is the rise of 64. $7,100 heading our way.
Do you see Elijah? Elijah, can you see or not?
You may have seen this before.
Okay. It's going right by us, okay? Yeah, it's going to be your zone. This is the train that we just rode.
In the 1950s, the Baltimore Ohio Railroad began producing local passenger rail service, and the state of Maryland began to subsidize commuter rail. In 1974, the Maryland Department of Transportation, MDOT, initiated the first state-sponsored commuter rail service between Baltimore and Washington, D.C. In 1984, this service was branded as Marc now carries 40,000 passengers daily over 187 miles of track, much of which dates from the 19th century railroads. In 1981, MDOT took ownership of the Marc 7100, which is a model F7A trade-in from the Baltimore, Ohio. This was originally, way back, number 4553. Marc outfitted number 7100 as a cab car. Cab car meaning its prime mover and main generator were removed, but the controls left intact. An engineer could run this locomotive in push-pull operations through the motive power, though the motive power may be on the opposite end of the train, like you see in front of you. With the operating cab locomotive attached to the head end of the train, this locomotive would be silenced. Morrison Knudsen, who rebuilt 7100, rebuilt 4 other F7A units for the Maryland Department of Transportation for Marc service, but these locomotives retained their original prime movers. These other 4 Marc units were later traded back to Morrison Knudsen for credit on an order for 5 rebuilt GP39-W locomotives in the 1990s. 7100, in the meantime, was removed from service in late 1998 due to deterioration. By that time, it had been relegated to backup service. But it wasn't done yet, and our story does not end here. Marc management decided to rebuild 7100 yet again. So back to Boise it went. By then, Morrison Knudsen had been renamed the Boise Locomotive Works. The rebuild took place over the next year and cost $900,000. A sum that, well, raised a few eyebrows as to whether it was a worthwhile investment to make a locomotive that had been built in the early 1950s. The rebuilding involved replacing components with their modern counterparts, including a Cummins KTA-19 G4, that's a mouthful, 6-cylinder diesel 4-cycle engine to drive the generator, creating head-end power. So folks, you may be wondering, what is head-end power? Well, head-end power is when you have a diesel generator that operates separate from the locomotive and creates power for the cars to run things like electrical outlets, heat, air conditioning, etc. Back before head-end power came along, steam was used to heat the cars, and to some degree was in the air conditioning system as well to spin various components. But all that changed in the later 60s, early 70s when head-end power became a real thing, especially on these streamlined cars. All right, folks, unless anybody here has any questions, which I may or may not be able to answer, we will bid adieu to 7100. Are there any questions? Going once, going twice. All right, friends, let's say adios to 7100. I call it a sweet surprise. Here comes our sweet surprise, folks. This is a 1950 Plymouth MDT 35-ton diesel mechanical twin-axle switcher. Diesel mechanical, meaning the power from the diesel engine is transferred to a 5-stage hydraulic torque converter transmission, similar in concept to the automobile, and is conveyed to the wheels via a chain drive. Before Domino Sugar, here in Baltimore, purchased the locomotive in 1992, not much else is really known about it history-wise. Probably went around from railroad to railroad. It does have its original power plant. Sorry, it does not have its original power plant in it, but we do know it has a Cummins 6-cylinder naturally aspirated 4-cycle diesel engine that was most likely installed sometime when it got to Domino Sugar. While at Domino, from 1992 through fall of 2019, Sweet Tooth, as the locomotive affectionately became known, worked every day to pull empty rail cars from the siding to be loaded with granulated or liquid sugar, as well as it positioned the full rail cars for pickup and delivery to customers by CSX. The Sweet Tooth name came from a 2016 naming contest with over 700 responses, which resulted in the garnering of the official name of the locomotive. Domino Sugar, which is in its 103rd year of operation, moves approximately 1,100 rail cars each year from the refinery and is the staple of the Baltimore City skyline. All right, folks. Let's go ahead and wave our hats, shake our hands, do whatever we're going to do at Sweet Tooth as it leaves us.
E&D GP30. Got that distinctive look to it.
You want to try and get one of like the whole tree? Look, I can walk down there and get it.
After World War II, diesels rapidly replaced steam on U.S. railroads. Despite its long-term reliance on coal for motive power and revenue, the Baltimore, Ohio bought its first road diesel in 1937 and became 100% dieselized in 1960, when 44% of its freight revenues still came from transporting coal. This General Motors Electromotive Division, or EMD, GP30M, number 6944, general purpose road switcher locomotive was built for the B&O in 1962. It was originally classed a FSE 5 and built under EMD spec 7631. The locomotives in that class were the only ones delivered to the B&O in the sunburst paint scheme you see on the nose. In 1982, the 6944 was rebuilt into a GP30M at the B&O's Cumberland, Maryland locomotive shops, and was later renumbered CSXT number 4253. In 1996, it was retired and was donated to the Baltimore, Ohio Railroad Museum. The original number and paint scheme were reapplied in 1996. Originally, from EMD, this would have had a 567 D3 16-cylinder two-stroke diesel engine. In 1982, during the rebuild, it was replaced with a 645 D3A 16-cylinder. The top speed of this bad boy gets up to 70 miles per hour. And that 645 D3A produces 2,000 horsepower. All right, folks, let's bid adieu to 6944s. Nice seeing you. We'll see you again soon. So with that, we'll cut away from Q&A, because underneath that Manure Street Bridge, 640. finally replaced the steam locomotives on the U.S. railroads. The overwhelming economic advantage for diesels is demonstrated by the fact that 40,000 steam locomotives were replaced by only 27,000 diesel locomotives. Despite its long-term reliance on coal, for locomotive power and revenue, the B&O became 100% dieselized by 1960. In 1949, the General Motors Electromotive Division, EMD again, introduced the GP7 road switcher. The GP7 was a general-purpose locomotive used for switching, freight, and commuter passenger service. It was equipped with end platforms for switching, a light axle loading, and short wheelbase for travel on light bridges. GP7s came without dynamic brakes. And you can easily discern a GP7 from a GP9 for all you rail fans by the fact that GP7s have louvers on the battery box doors. So if you look underneath where it's stenciled 6405, those 3 sets of louvers, that's how you would know it's a GP7. GP9s would only have 1 or none. The B&O purchased its first set of GP7s for its Indianapolis division in 1953. 6405 at that time ran its course, did its thing, and it was retired from service in 1984 and sent to the B&O Railroad Museum, where it was restored in 2003. B&O designated these FSE-1s, weighing in at 124 tons and with a tractive effort of 61,250 foot-pounds. The EMD 567BC two-cycle engine inside of this thing produces 1,500 horsepower. You say, well, Charlie, what the heck is a BC? Well, so EMD started with just the original 567. Then it had a 567A, and it had a B, and it had a C, and it had a D, a D3, and some other fun stuff. But the issue with the original 567s, the A's and the B's, were that they were prone to head gasket failures and some other issues relating to the cooling system. So, EMD remedied all that when it came out with the 567C and put water jumpers in there as well as a separate cooling system, so that way it did not rely on the head solely. So if you were to ever tear one of these things apart, you would see that there is a water jumper in the cylinder head. So B means that the block is originally a B block, but C meaning it has C power assemblies, meaning it was also retrofitted with that, call it later model, cooling system. And anybody that's ever worked on 567s will happily tell you that C's, D's, the D3s, etc., and anything after that were the best ones to work on. They were easier. Let's give a big wave to Gary inside of the engine there, 6405. Thank you, Gary. And let's wave adios to 6405. Bridge, it's kind of a 2 for deal. That's what we'll call it. But we're going to focus on just 1 out of 2.
Chessie's coming.
Yep.
If you guess CSX, you'd be right.
Gotta rip them up. Oh yeah. Yeah, he had that one opened up. That's cool. That's putting on a show. You can see how long it's taking them to stop, too.
A twofer deal. So, if any of you are watching the Facebook of this place, we are going to show you the insides of 38 of a tube.
That's a 16 cylinder we're looking at. You can actually hear the air compressor kick on and off. When the air compressor comes along, you hear that deep thumping sound. That thump, 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 thump. That's the air compressor. Now, one of the things he forgot to mention during this tour was when the museum originally got the Chessie system locomotive, it arrived as CSX number 9699, as you see here in this picture, in the orange MOW colors. And this would have been used for the CSX Ballast Express. Alright, so this is a GP38. 16 cylinder, he's saying, in case you guys can't hear it when I put my video together.
Is CSX number 1507. 1507 is the 1982 product of the Electromotive Division. It is a rare bird. Built by EMD from October of 1982 to April of 1983, the GP15T, meaning turbocharged, is the turbocharged version of the standard GP15. It utilizes an EMD 645 two-stroke turbocharged V8, as opposed to the standard GP15's naturally aspirated V12 645.
That's more or less cylinder. BMD marketed these as more fuel efficient, hey, look at that, and economical for railroads still operate. In total, 28 GP15Ts were built. Chesapeake and Ohio, with the guys of the Chessie system, received 25 units. Apalachicola Northern, operating in the Panhandle of Florida, received the remaining 3 units. The Chessie units were equipped with dynamic braking and optional inertial air filtration systems. The ride to the Chessie system is number 1507.
That's her dynamic brake right there.
In her original number.
Or the cooling for it, should say. There we go.
John, as he takes the car 2 miles west. Eastern Railway, the P&E, as their 8905s and operated for this New York Central subsidiary company in Illinois. The P&E 8905 was the second 7 identical switchers ordered by the Peoria and Eastern under EMD order number 6174.
I would also like to mention, because I don't know if it made the video or not, I can't remember if he said or mentioned it, but on March 3rd, 1989, Conrail sold this locomotive to the Blue Mountain and Reading Railroad, which operated several former Conrail coal branches near Port Clinton, Pennsylvania. The locomotive became BM&R number 1200, a reference to its 1200 horsepower. I think he does mention that in the video, but I wanted to provide a picture and show it off. But I do remember him saying this now, and I don't know if it made my video or not. At the end of 1995, the BM&R and the number 1200 were folded into the Reading, Blue Mountain, and Northern. The number 1200 operated on the RBMN until 2002, when it was retired from their active roster. So the museum ended up buying this locomotive in 2004 as a general use engine for the museum's rail operations, and became BOMX, the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad Museum. It was painted later that year into a unique museum paint scheme, as you see here in this picture, emerging as BOMX number 1200. It has been the museum's regular excursion power ever since, carrying thousands of rail enthusiasts along the oldest rail line in America during the museum's annual holidays. In late 2017, the B&O Railroad Museum approached the Conrail Historical Society to inquire about the availability of diagrams and other paint information. They explored returning the locomotive to its authentic Conrail colors.
Preparation for the Penn Central merger. Making all that noise. Here comes 8905.
Oh man, that sounds good.
Central and Pennsylvania Railroad merged on February 1st, 1968. The B&E 800 in reference to its 1,200 horsepower. It operated on the RBMN until 2002 when it was retired from the active roster. The museum purchased the locomotive in 2004 as a general use engine for the museum's rail operation. It was painted later that year with the museum paint scheme emerging as B&OMX 100. It has been the museum's regular excursion power ever since, carrying several thousands of young rail enthusiasts among the oldest rail lines in America during most of its holidays and special events. In late 2017, the B&O then approached the Conrail Historical Society to inquire about the availability of diagrams and other information as they explored returning the locomotive to its authentic Conrail colors. This inquiry evolved into a full-fledged joint fundraising effort to make 8905 the first restored and operational Conrail locomotive in the world. And underneath that hood, doing all that shaking and rattling, is a 12-cylinder 567 AC. What is dubbed up for? A is the block, C is the power assembly. So this originally came from the factory for the 567A, and subsequently had C power assemblies as well as that C water cooling system installed.
And of course, I had to have my Conrail photo moment with the world's first Conrail locomotive restored to running operation.
Once again, on behalf of Baltimore Ohio Railroad Museum, volunteers, staff, everybody here, I want to give you a thanks for coming out to see our show. Hope you enjoyed it. Recommend to a friend. Tell all your friends, non-friends, all those people. We apologize to the community, but that is unfortunately outside of our control.
On the trip back, riding home, you can tell when we're on a curve, you can't see the next car in. So I have to say that this was a great event. I was really impressed, especially when it seemed like Chessie was in notch 8. Like he was moving that, and that Conrail locomotive, that was just the icing on the cake. So really enjoyed Diesel Days. Glad they're doing a Diesel Day. Seems like steam gets all the attention. Why? No, just kidding. I am. A lot of people enjoy steam, and it is cool, but I'm a diesel guy. I like diesels. There should be more Diesel Days. But anyway, there's the Marc. So this is the museum's G-scale layout, their garden layout.
And she said all the data shows it too. That's what I think it's good, especially for
And they even have a diesel running on that. I think this would be a cool addition to my HO layout, this safety train. This is the North Car Shop. This is where they keep a lot of steam locomotives and stuff. Really cool addition to the Roundhouse if you come and visit here. Here we have Pierre Marquette, number 11, diesel switcher. Pretty cool. So here we have an E&D locomotive here. I don't know if you guys could hear him talking out there at the locomotive yard, but I'm glad they have one out here on display. As you guys are well aware, I've been a diesel tech for 35 years. Although I have worked on trucks, basically locomotive engines are the same as big rigs, just more bigger. So you guys know that, you know, I work on Peterbilt, Kenworth, big rig trucks for the 35 years I keep talking about. But at any rate, so here we have, and I'm very familiar with two strokes and trucks, so I can relate to what's going on here. But anyway, so you have your roots type blower. Now, since this is a V configuration, meaning you have cylinders that are on, you have cylinders on one bank and you got cylinders on another bank. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is a V12, 6 cylinders on each side. Each cylinder, bank of cylinders has a roots type blower that's feeding air into it, and a roots type blower are just two screws. They look like big screws, and they force air into the intake. And so it takes in air from here, goes into the roots type air blower here, and it goes into this air box. This is the air box part of the prime mover engine. Down here is where you gain access to your connecting rods. Because it's a two-stroke, there's no intake rocker arm. Everything on you're seeing here are exhaust valves. There's no intake valves because it takes in air through the side of it, through the side box. So a two-stroke will not have intake valves. They're all exhaust. And then you have your injector here running on this camshaft. Okay, so this is a Winton diesel engine. This is a two-stroke. So cool story, EMD actually bought EMD actually bought Winton. So EMD was originally started off Winton diesel engines, two-stroke. EMD then bought Winton and then redesigned the engine and became this. Now, from my understanding, the Winton diesel engines were used in locomotives like the Flying Yankee. What we have here is sort of a classic. It's a GM EMC, Electric Motive Corporation, not EMD. And it's a Class DE2 locomotive. You can see the cool lines that are on it. Not to be confused with an E6 or E7 or E8, because it is not. But look at that chiseled look of the locomotive. It's just so cool. The chrome outline trim on top. Very, very cool locomotive. You'll see that it has porthole windows in it, or not porthole, but oblong windows versus the porthole windows of a F unit. One thing I wanted to mention is you got this free cool mug for Diesel Day here, and I thank the museum for this free gift. So on my way home, had a great time with Diesel Day. Great event. If you like diesel locomotives like me, check it out next year. They plan to keep on having this event. I certainly will probably be back. 99% chance of that happening for sure. As a diesel tech for 35 years, I sure did enjoy the show that they put on with the diesel locomotives. And funny little quick story before I go home. I took a selfie once the Conrail SW7 came up. The guy comes up to me and says, "Yeah, I see you took a picture with your baby." I was like, wow, I didn't know it was mine. I wish that Conrail SW7 was mine. And it sounded good with that 12 cylinder. It sure did sound good. But anyway, catch you guys later. Catch you at the next event, next train show. Goodbye.